Hello, my name is Mike Smith. I'm the tech guy here at Living Lord Lutheran Church. We're an ELCA church here in Bartlett, Illinois, and we started streaming our services in 2013 using YouTube and basically a webcam at a desktop computer back in our little sound booth area. We have since upgraded a couple of times, and I'm going to be telling you what we're using today and pointing out a couple of our technical things. Basically, this upgrade cost us about $5,000, but we did use some things that we already had. I just wanted to point out a couple of cameras. We have an Amcrest PTZ camera sitting on top of the organ. We have another Amcrest PTZ IP camera behind the lectern here that's focused on the band. We then bought a PTZOptics 30 times camera that we mounted up there. That is a huge upgrade for us. We're bringing the sound from our soundboard and our slides that are displayed behind our pastor into the broadcast as well. As I mentioned, we started in 2013, and we've kind of gone through, I would say this is our fourth major improvement. And I'll put all the products in the description. I do not claim to be an expert on this at all, but this is kind of how we did things. We have a big main projector here. I brought the signal from that to a secondary projector that we use as a confidence monitor. We also stole the signal from the secondary monitor. It runs behind to our system, and I use it as an input. I have a Panasonic camera that we use for transitions. We'll put that behind the band, or we'll focus it kind of as a wider picture that we use to just go as we transition. Again, we already had that. I use two iPads. We had an iPad for our last setup. I have a personal one that I brought in for this that has a big crack in the screen. We were able to secure a number of monitors for this setup, and the monitors basically was a donation to a bigger church near us that have a volunteer group that they collect old equipment, and then they refurbish them, and then they take donations for them. And so we were able to get a number of monitors. I had a Chromebook that I donated to the cause. We have a hub behind the Chromebook there. We brought in a keyboard and a mouse. We bought a PTZOptics joystick to help us to control our main camera. And the main hub of this is the Roland V-8HD. Gives us 8 HDMI inputs, and 2 of them are scalable, meaning that when I bring them in from sources like the analog slides or like my Chromebook, I don't have a problem with those sources. It scales it and makes sure it's all set and ready to go. So let me explain a little bit about the system that I have and what I've set up. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have, but like I said, I am not the smartest guy around. So let's start over here with the small iPad. The small iPad controls a couple of things, but the main thing that it controls is our Teradek Video Pro. They don't make these anymore. There's a Video X or a Go version of this. Basically, this is our encoder. It's going to take our final signal and it's going to send it to a service that we're using called Caster.io. Caster.io is going to take our stream and it's going to real-time send it out to other streaming services like YouTube events, Facebook Live, and we're going to try Twitch. We're not sure if we're cool enough for Twitch, but we're going to try it in a little bit. So basically what I need to do is I take the streaming key from Caster and I then put it into our video, basically talking to this box through the iPad. I'm pasting in that string, that streaming key, so that when the video encodes it, sends it up to the web, I then will have it going to the correct spot in Caster. The next thing I have over here is my iPad Pro. The church bought this and we were using a live-to-air program on it, but we are now using it. It talks directly to the Roland mixer, and I can do things like I can change my audio settings. I have some preset memory settings that this is a nice screen to come out of. So it's got a very robust app that is free with the Roland mixer. My camera beeped, so I'm not sure what's happening there. Hopefully it's still recording. I have two video decoders for the two different Amcrest cameras. Those decoders are sending them to the mixer and they're coming in. That's this musician view right here and this back view right here. My balcony source 2 is this camera that is behind me. My source 1 is the camera that I showed you downstairs, the PTZOptics 30 times, and that is my main camera. I have a number of presets, so for example, if I need to get over to the singers, I can hit 6 and it brings me right over to the singers, etc. If I know the pastor's speaking, I can hit 4 and it'll jump me over there. Obviously, I transition that, so I'll pick a second camera. So for example, let's say I'm on this camera view, which is my main camera. I'll fade out to this camera here. I'll switch the spot that this is looking. It'll do that quick, and then I'll fade in to that other camera. So that's what's going on there. The menu screen is what I've got outputted here. I can see all of the sources. I can see the preview and what's going out to the program right there. This monitor is simply so I can see what my one PTZ camera is doing and can help with some fine adjustments without bringing it to the program. This monitor is hooked to this Chromebook, and basically at the very beginning of our broadcast, I will fade the broadcast into this screen, and then I am simply going through a slideshow, and so it will change it to these different slides that are coming in as my source 7. When I get to this last slide, I then move into some other view, and I actually move this to some other graphics. So for example, if I was then going to go to Pastor Sue, I would bring her to the preview, and I would go over to that camera, and I would also bring in maybe some text that says Pastor Sue. I might want to put our graphic to the right and lower from Pastor Sue. And again, that's all happening over here. I'm watching my caster stream on this secondary monitor over here. And then finally, I've set up some presets. So for example, if I have faded out, let's say I fade out to the whole area, but now the band's about to begin, I'm gonna zoom in on the singers, and then I have some presets that I can zoom in. This one shows the singers. It shows the band in the background. I would have made that a little bit better with my other camera. And it shows the slides that the person at the desk downstairs would be running. I could switch this to 8, and then it would show a close-up of the musicians, close-up of the singers, and then the band behind. There's lots of different controls that you can do with the Roland. So for example, let's say I just want to keep the band, but I want the singers on the main screen. I'll fade the singers out with this button, and I'll switch the source of the background to output 1, and it'll look something like this. And so now you'll have the singers close up. You'll see the band in the picture-in-picture window. Let's say the song ends. I want to go back out to the other look and bring this away. I have the DSK with that, so I can put that on there in the bottom if I want to. And then let's say Pastor Sue moves to a different location. I can zoom in on her there, and I can switch that feed to that other camera. There's a lot of things I can do with this. If I go over to the memory area, this kind of shows me everything that's going to happen. So let's say I want the main picture with the slides. Again, nothing's coming through the slides right now. I could either select preset 2, or I can simply select it over here, and that's what would go out as my output. So again, this whole setup, we bought we bought the camera, the mount, a whole bunch of cables, the Roland mixer, we bought the joystick, and that's it for this round. And that was about $5,000, I believe, all said and done. We bought the 2 decoders as well. But again, we had a lot of the components from before. We already had the video, we already had the iPads, the Chromebook. We pretty much got for donations the monitors, and we had this camera and the 2 Amcrest cameras. So it'll be a little bit more if you don't have those components. I'd be glad to speak with you, reach out and let me know if you have any questions about the setup. Like I said, I will put everything in the description, and I can go into a more detailed explanation of the mixer should you want it. We basically made a little chart to help us with camera positions for the camera and some different presets and sources, and that has helped us as we go about our training. So good luck to you. I know it's challenging. We were in pretty good shape for the pandemic. We were already broadcasting, but we had another donation for the just for our technology, and we were able to make these upgrades. And I hope any of this information helps you in your congregation.